Can you believe it? The Curse of Ula'tek is just 8 weeks away. Man, that seems really quite quick. There are some absolutely massive changes in the works for Ret Paladin, and overall, I'd say they're incredibly positive. So let's do a few things. We'll dive into the upcoming class changes, then we're going to talk about this new tier set bonus and the corresponding armor set. Lastly, we're going to cover some of the other systems and how they're going to impact our gearing, because it's going to change a little bit. So let's get to it. So starting off with class changes, we're just going to go in order here and hit these one by one, since there are quite a few of them. So the class as a whole got a very small boost to healing, but to be real, this is inconsequential. As you'll see here, player health was increased by 25% across the board, so these increases just keep the healing we do to be about the same as before. Really nothing to see there. So moving into the Ret specific stuff, we got a really awesome developer note. I love it when we get some insight into upcoming class changes and the direction the developers want to take for our class. I can't stress this enough. Thank you devs for doing this. This is good. So I'm not going to read this word for word, but it looks like they wanted to address two major areas. The first area is smoothing out damage during cooldown windows, and then the second is addressing our reliance on Sky Fury, the Shaman raid buff, as well as the interactions with our Apex talent and Art of War, because there's some funky stuff there. And to be honest, this is an unexpected approach for the devs to take. I would not have guessed this is what they do. And my initial impression of this is that it should absolutely lead to healthier and more consistent gameplay patterns. And I did advocate for some of these changes in my 12.1 wishlist video, so I'm pretty ecstatic here. But I will say there are some concerns. The first couple changes here impact Blade of Justice and our Apex talent. This will result in never munching an Art of War proc and is a major quality of life. This is something me as well as a bunch of other Rets really wanted on beta. Just took a little bit longer to get here, I guess. And the tuning change for Blade of Justice and Art of War is a bit clever. So here's a quick table showing really what the impact looks like. So in short, our regular Blade of Justice damage is going to go up. And then our Art of War Blade of Justice damage is going to stay about even. So what this does is it shifts our damage reliance out of the proc and into our regular rotation. That's a good thing. Our finishers got buffed by 15%, and I get where they're going here, but I don't think this is going to be enough. All of our other generators got buffed by a huge margin. We're talking upwards of 50% in most cases. And so when this happens, our finishers can and will be less meaningful, and that's not an ideal place to be. But a lot of tuning can happen in 8 weeks. I mean, we saw it in Season 1, where we saw buff after buff to Templar's Verdict and Final Verdict because it didn't hit hard enough, and this might put us in a similar spot. We'll see. Avenging Wrath got a slight adjustment down, and this is really in alignment with moving power out of cooldowns. It's a pretty low impact overall, and almost all other classes had some adjustment to their cooldowns, so we're not an outlier here. On the other hand, some of these increases to our holy power builders are wild. A 50% increase to Templar Strike and Slash, Judgment, and Hammer of Wrath is going to add up. And I'll touch on Templar Strike versus Crusading Strikes in a few moments. It's always a hot topic, and we're likely going to see a bit of a shakeup in the future, so we'll get back to that. Divine Toll is getting a similar treatment to the Art of War proc we mentioned earlier. Damage is just shifted into our non-cooldown ability presses, and it still should do comparable damage overall to what it did before. The Light Within damage was slightly reduced. Man, I've been hammering on this for months. That proc was make or break sometimes, and putting less weight into that is likely going to be for the best. It's not going to have those big crazy moments like it did before, but I think since it can accumulate 2 charges now, it's going to be a healthier damage distribution overall. Our healing got buffed here, but as I mentioned before, our health pools are going up by 20%, so this is really not a meaningful change. However, now we're at the big ticket change here for us, for better or for worse. Sky Fury has been the raid buff for us. We always wanted to run with a Shaman, always. Mastery buff, plus the benefit of additional auto attacks and holy power generation was just so freaking good. Well, say goodbye to that extra holy power because it's gone now. This is going to bring more consistency to the rotation, and it's probably better for the long-term health of Ret. I mean, having to rely on another class for a raid buff to make your class even function with specific talent choices, I don't think is really healthy. From my initial testing, our holy power generation doesn't seem to be an issue on PTR, especially with the new 4-piece, so I'm not overly concerned. Alongside it, Crusader Strike will still auto attack slightly faster than before. You're still going to have that slight drip of holy power, and so you're not going to feel that much of a change, but you're going to notice it a little bit in some cases. Execution Sense now has a better AoE impact zone. We'll see really how big the AoE effect is, but any addition to what it is today is a major win, because it was a problem when we wanted to use this ability, but it wouldn't hit everything in the area. Now it seems it should do that a lot more consistently. So we'll write this one off as a major win. And the last set of changes here are for Templar. Hammer of Light got a weird change here. It takes a whopping 30% nerf and now costs 3 holy power. I mean, that's a pretty big nerf. And if we're talking raw damage per holy power, it technically is more effective in 12.1, but only marginally. But when it comes to overall damage, it's definitely a big hit. And it did hit like a truck before, so if the developers intend to smooth out the damage profile, this is certainly one way to do it. Might not have been my preference, but it does smooth it out. And all up, these changes are pretty good. I mean, my one concern is that we already had a relatively flat damage profile, and this is going to make it even more so. Having a flat damage profile can be good in a lot of cases, but anytime you really need to burst the set of adds, or have a damage amplification, or really need to put damage over a longer period of time, burst is important. And when you have a flat profile, you don't really get to benefit from that, and that can make you less desirable. As long as other classes have similar changes and everyone sort of falls into a more flat profile, which it looks like they do to some degree, it should be okay, but I still have a little concern about this. I mean, real talk though, not directly related to that, but my gut says that this upcoming tier may have us playing Herald of the Sun for a few reasons, and it's primarily tied to the tier bonus. And the reason being is Herald of the Sun has a guaranteed way to trigger Divine Purpose through the Aurora part of the hero talent tree. And this is actually a really big deal. Talking about consistent damage, this is definitely consistent. And so when I first read this tier set, I had some mixed feelings, but after I got my hands on it, I've warmed up slightly. But let's break it down because it is more complicated than you'd think. The 2-piece, it's incredibly straightforward. You're going to get about double the amount of Divine Purpose procs, which is going to add up quite a bit. And you're going to do roughly 10% more damage a fair bit of the time, because it's all holy damage. It's a pretty good 2-piece. Honestly, probably one of our better 2-pieces in a long time, so it does get a major thumbs up from me. The 4th piece, on the other hand, is going to do 2 major things. So the first one is you're going to use all of your Divine Purpose procs on Divine Storm. Every time you consume that Divine Purpose proc with Divine Storm, you're going to want to use Final Verdict immediately or almost immediately after. Some of it is going to depend on what procs or other abilities you have available, to be determined really what that's going to shake out to be, but the concept is the same. You're going to Divine Storm, and then you're going to Final Verdict for a big pop of damage. If you played Demon Hunter for Eldrachi Reaver at all, it's sort of that 1-2 combo concept where you do one ability and then the next one triggers a big pop of damage. So let's do the good stuff first. The Divine Arbiter hit is beefy. It's got a good feel to it, it does good single target damage, and has a cleave benefit, which we always like. More Divine Purpose is just fun. I like Divine Purpose, reacting to procs is good gameplay, and having that freedom is nice. It also does put less of a responsibility on managing your holy power effectively, for better or for worse, but free spenders are pretty good. The free Final Verdict though, it does smooth out holy power generation, and especially if you're taking Templar strikes. I like it, I think it's good, but it does potentially put us in a spot where we don't care as much about holy power, for better or for worse. So as far as the bad goes, having to spend Divine Purpose on Divine Storm only feels a little bit gross. So you're trading damage now for damage later, and I think it feels even worse for Templar, who has no additional damage amplification for Divine Storm, and there are going to be times when you want to use your Divine Purpose proc on Hammer of Light, and guess what? You're not going to be able to do that. And that just feels a little icky. This 4-piece feels like what Empyrean Power or Empyrean Legacy, the talents on our talent tree, should have been. So we get this cool new tier piece, but these two talents lie neglected, and that feels a little bit bad here. We haven't seen any talent changes on the PTR yet, so maybe there are some changes, but this feels like direct upgrades of both of those. And the last bad part of this is the reuse of Divine Arbiter. So we just lost this moving into Midnight. And I get that it's slightly different now, but it's practically the same thing with a different activation criteria. And don't get me wrong, I love bringing back old stuff that worked. But this has been gone since the Midnight pre-patch. That's late January. It hasn't even been gone half a year. And so when things like this happen, it feels like it shouldn't have ever left to begin with. Blizzard wanted to reduce complexity and a lot of other stuff, and now they're adding it back in 6 months later. I feel like that's missing the mark a bit from a design intent. Even though I like this, it shouldn't have left to begin with. But let's talk numbers here, because that's important here, and I do think it gives a bit more context. So this is fuzzy math. The reason I say that is Ret has a ton of interactions with all of its spells, hero talents and passives, and so there are things that make your ability stronger, and I recognize that. I don't want to add all that here, so we're just going to look at base damage here. If we have Divine Purpose and do this combo as intended, Divine Storm into Final Verdict will net us about 54,000 damage. If we neglect the 4-piece proc and do Final Verdict into Final Verdict, that does about 50,000 damage. So it's a 4,000 difference between the two on a single target encounter. That doesn't take into account the free Templar's Verdict you're going to get, but that is criminally close, and I think that ignores a huge portion of the 4-piece. And obviously here, in AoE there's going to be no contest, but in single target, I think it's too close and we need some adjustment here. And saying that, I actually like this concept a bit. It reminds me a bit of Light's Decree from BFA, and I'm a sucker for big holy explosions, and this is something to spice up the gameplay. Like, that in itself is not bad. If I had to fix something, I'd probably do two things. I would leave the 1-2 punch setup intact because I think that's the direction Blizzard wants to head here, and it does influence your gameplay patterns, which is good. So the first thing I'd change would be that Divine Storm or Hammer of Light should activate the Divine Arbiter buff. So this should add some parity between hero talents and smooth out some of the rotation during cooldowns, because sometimes during cooldowns we have a lot to press and it's all important. So that should smooth it a bit. And then the second thing is something needs to be done to make Divine Storm feel better to press in this combo, because right now it feels like a bit of a punishment on single target. In AoE it's fine, but in single target you're hitting a really wimpy ability and then getting a really big hit. And that doesn't always feel good. One additional note here is that this tier set has no interaction with Empyrean Legacy, so the Divine Purpose buff has to be consumed by a manually casted Divine Storm. So the automatic Divine Storm from Empyrean Legacy, it's not going to work with this here. And I did leave feedback on the Blizzard forums, go check that out. If you think what I said makes sense, give it an upvote and comment with your thoughts too. Feedback goes a long way here. So speak up, voice what you think. So let's talk about visuals here as far as the set design. I think this set is a bit underwhelming, at least on a Blood Elf. It is almost identical to the Venthyr Renown set back from Shadowlands. It feels like a bit of a copy-paste type moment, and I don't love that from a design standpoint. The belt and gloves are so clunky, and there's some pretty bad clipping, yet again, on a Blood Elf. If you play a human, it's okay, but I play a Blood Elf, so this is what we get. Paladin sets have been so hit or miss, and this one's just a big miss for me. So you tell me, what's your favorite Paladin tier set? Drop it in the comments below. Mine? It's the High Lord set from Legion. It's so good. More sets like that, please. I want to make a few general gameplay notes right now. I think it's important to talk about some of these. And the biggest one is holy power economy feels weird. So I did testing for both Herald of the Sun and Templar, and I swapped around Crusading Strikes and Templar Strikes, and I've got some odd results. So, building holy power just doesn't matter sometimes. In one of my Herald of the Sun tests, I didn't press Templar Strike until over a minute into the pull. That's a really long time neglecting an ability. And I honestly don't see a world where taking Templar Strikes makes sense with this new tier set, specifically when playing with Herald of the Sun. There are just so many free spenders. Templar? It could really go either way. It's going to come down to further tuning in sims. But check this out though. Out of cooldowns, Templar Slash is hitting for upwards of 35k. In cooldowns, substantially harder, but you really don't want to press it there. But out of the box, this second hit will hit harder than a Templar's Verdict. That's a little weird there. It still doesn't compete with Blade of Justice or Judgment as a preferred filler, but it is better than it is on live. And live, it was pretty close, within 1% or so. There's a lot of tuning left. You'll probably be able to play both, but I think with the amount of free holy power we're getting now, spending your time on things like Templar Strike and Templar Slash, as always, is just less valuable than free holy power. The last thing I want to mention here relates to gearing in patch 12.1. A ton of things are changing, and I'm guessing this will see further iteration through the PTR cycle, but the biggest change that I've seen here is going to be related to the catalyst. So the first thing is that if you catalyze a piece now, it's going to maintain its original stats. So if you catalyze a versatility mastery chess piece, the tier set will keep versatility and mastery. Secondarily, it's also going to keep any cantrip effects, and it seems that the raid gear is going to have a lot more of those. So there's going to be some high value, long-term goals on getting these cantrip pieces to catalyze. We're going to see how this shakes out, but depending on the loot pool, we will be able to get some highly optimized gear sets, and that sounds pretty cool to me. Anything that makes gearing a bit more dynamic and interesting is a massive win. Gearing's gotten pretty stale. It's been rinse and repeat really since Dragonflight, or at least mid-Dragonflight. And so having this change, sure, let's try it out, see what happens. Stay tuned for more Ret Paladin coverage. I'll keep you posted on all of the happenings on the PTR and what we can expect heading into 12.1. I want to give a big shout out to our patrons. They make creating this content possible, so a big thank you from me to you on supporting what we do here. If you personally would like to support the channel further, the best place to do it is Patreon. As members, you gain access to things like log reviews, UI support, blog updates, Jesir radio, and more. Check it out. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you in the next one.